Are we thinking big on education? You're all, until recently you were students. You think we are thinking big on our education?
We have started up to think big. So what I felt was like we need to give some more like a practical skill development kind of thing also. See, once the student is out from the graduation or from the school, so what else he can do rather than going and sticking to some employment job or something like that. So if he knows some kind of skill so that he can develop something of his own, then he will be start thinking big, and he will be start something of his own.
You had this idea of a very large multidisciplinary training, skills training center, isn't it?
Yes,
something that you generated yourself.
Yeah, but
what he says seems to be almost on the same
absolutely. He's answering, he's stating a need, because obviously he's feeling it right in the startup. Yeah, exactly. He won't be finding enough people to come in to work there. Even qualified engineers are not qualified enough to take on the job.
Exactly.
They need a finishing school.
Our training centers are very small.
Actually, what we are, training centers don't attract the best talent. You know, if you're a very good engineer, you're not going to end up teaching in a training school. If you're a very good carpenter, you're not going to end up as a master craftsman in a trade school, simply because you're going to earn a lot more outside. So an enabling environment for that has not been created. And the training centers we have in India, that's one of the reasons why we are unable to scale up, are all small and disaggregated. If you aggregate them and make them into, if you get them together and have these huge multi-skill training centers with a number of skills being taught there, I think you will be able to get, we will be able to get the type of trainers we need to answer to the needs of industries that he's just started up with.
Yeah, exactly.
The type of industries he has started up with.
Yeah, we need such kind of training centers. Like, even if a mechanical engineer comes to our company and he is saying like, yeah, I will start working, but what will he do? We will start asking him to make a prototype. He will say, what is a prototype? He don't know how to make the thing. He know that this is the way the thing is done, but he don't know how to make it. So we need to go away and we need to give personal training and everything, and after 2 or 3 months only he will be able to do something of his own or something productive for the company.
More of theory happening and
yeah,
less
more
of
of theory.
Absolutely.
Actually.
In fact,
what is your view on thinking big in education?
We need to have more of practical classes and where people can express what they really feel. No matter what they study, there should be some practical application in which they can come to know that yes, this is what the theory is for. But today I think hardly any of these students know what they learn. They just mug up things and write them on this paper and that's it. It ends there.
You were saying, Uday?
What I was mentioning was in education itself. There has to be something so inspirational in this country to make teachers teach, to make students learn. That's not there. In most across the country, it's just not there. Let me just put out an idea, a big idea. Now suppose there was a competition in this country and we said 100 students, or rather 100 students and 10 teachers from every district, the best 100 students, will be sent on a 1-month learning program to a good school abroad or to many good schools abroad, which will receive them where they can have an internship. I think it'll be the type of revolution that will take education by storm in this country. Teachers would like to teach. It's much less than what we are doing in subsidies, and I think this whole subsidy culture is, you know, we have started thinking big on poverty. We have made that such a huge issue that we are not willing to eliminate it, lest it's like a favorite itch. It has to be there all the time. You see, I mean, so what has happened is we end up thinking our thinking is defeatist. We always want to do this on a big scale. We want to address poverty on a big scale. Garibi Hatao starts in 1971. It is now 2013. Garibi is not hataud. It's still very much there. It's incredible how we are so wedded to uncomfortable thoughts, all defeatist thoughts.
Paul, you're smiling, laughing again. Like, you think we think big only on poverty and negative issues?
We think big on poverty and negative issues, but the thing is we think only on the monetary thing. So we address the poverty as like 32 rupees per day is the poverty kind of thing.
That's not thinking big.
Yeah, that's not thinking big. And we are actually giving, oh, okay, I will give 50 rupees and his poverty is over. But that's not the way of thinking big. We need to address the holistic approach. Like, we need to address the whole concern of the person and the family he is supporting and the family he is about to be. And so that, like what Uday said, so we need to give a holistic approach, including education, then skills development, and also a conducive environment so that he can grow and he can make others also grow. So if that's there, that's the thinking big of
You are
education.
nodding your head, Amita.
No, I'm just thinking, so ultimately is it lack of motivation that is preventing us from thinking big?
A kind of motivation also. It's like if we are continuously striving for something for 3 years or 4 years, and if you are not seeing the output, then we will be demotivated. That's what happening in the graduation, or even in the technical graduation, which I have done also. So after 4 years, after coming out with a degree paper, you will be thinking like, what I can do? I am nothing. I just passed a test and I got a degree paper. So that will definitely demotivate him.
Dr. Uday, is failure standing in the way, the fear that we will fail? Is that the one standing in the way?
I'm not sure. I think it is, if I can put it in one word, after having spent 36 years in bureaucracy, I think it is bureaucracy which is holding the country back tremendously. I mean, it is self-perpetuating one. It is perhaps the one evil that this country has had to endure for 200 years under the British and has had to endure after that. What I'm trying to say is the bureaucracy has never been empowered, in the sense that it has found its rich pickings in being bureaucrats. It hasn't found a richness in doing good to the rest of the country. Now, you just take something in your own service, for example, in the Indian Administrative Service or in my service, for example. Things haven't changed. The same hierarchy, the same mindset, the same finance, the same way we go about it. And therefore, what happens is, I got a point there.
What is that to do with thinking big?
No, in education, we were supposed to be thinking big. Now, why haven't we succeeded in achieving 100% literacy? Why haven't we succeeded in having functional literacy in this country? You know, in the sense that we talk of literacy at 76%, but I would put it really functionally at about 25 to 30%. It's not more than that. Just because you know to read and write doesn't make you literate. It's much more today. So I would think, look at the number of programs that the Ministry of Education has run. I mean, every time there's a big name for it, and there's a big launch, and then it goes off. And this fantastic idea, I mean, this was not thinking big. This is thinking absurdly. When they started bringing in these little what you call tablets for students, the Ministry Akash, it's run into a huge problem. It hasn't reached anybody. We haven't even reached a decent classroom, and we are giving people tablets. I mean, the thinking big would be having functional schools across the country. That's big. That's a big thing.
He said about literacy and functional literacy, and adding of the tablets or introducing a technology to give such more literacy. One big challenge was actually Akash was not manufactured in India. It was actually a product which was like outsourced from China and was customized for Indian market. So what I will say is, if we are not able to make a product for our own, then how will we sustain, or how will we give something good for our society? That's one thing. Then literacy. So literacy, I will add a point, like we need to give internet literacy also, because it's not like read and write. I learned a lot of things by learning from the internet, like by going through the different global courses and all these kind of stuff, and understanding the different ecosystems available in various countries and all. So all these things happen through the medium of internet. And it's such a very easy platform, and it's very easily available with such kind of technologies.
Do you have any last words to say to the young people and the old who are watching this show?
I have a few words to say, of course, but they're not very palatable. One of them is, I think we need to, first of all, debureaucratize the mind, the Indian mind, which is actually in charge of India now, the 40, 50, 60-year-olds. You know, we are highly bureaucratic in our thinking. So bureaucracy is good, it's necessary, every country has it, but it doesn't, we shouldn't allow that mindset has crept into every Indian. So what I would like to tell the young is that if you really need to think big, there are several global opportunities which come your way in funding, in resources of various kinds, including human resources, expertise and all. I think, and there is a global linkage that's going on. But I'd like to go back a few steps into what we discussed on education, which you touched on. Yes, today, why I'm thinking big. When you think big on education, you really change a country. Now, we have so few teachers. Why is the problem there in rural areas? Because not enough teachers are willing to go there and work. And they'll get recruited, but they won't go there. Now, what prevents the latest technologies from solving that problem? And give it to the young people. I mean, you get 10 young people, and you're going to get amazing results out of that.
Thank you very much, Uday. Thank you very much, young people. There is this old saying that you show them the world and they'll bring the world to you. The young in India and Kerala have seen the world. and they are bringing the world to us, and they are transforming the state and the country. Thank you for watching Thinking Big on Youth Express. And be sure to be back next week, same time, same day.